Have you ever stumbled upon a story so strange, so unexplainable that it completely shatters your perception of history? Prepare yourself, because the story of the Green Children of Woolpit is precisely that. Imagine, if you will, a sun-drenched harvest day in 12th century England. In the tiny, isolated village of Woolpit, a group of villagers is about to make a discovery that will be debated for over 800 years. Not of gold, not of treasure, but of two small children, a boy and a girl, huddled at the edge of a wolf pit. But these were no ordinary lost children. Their skin was the color of fresh spring leaves. They spoke a language no one on earth could comprehend, and their clothes were woven from a material utterly alien to the world they had just entered. This is the baffling, true story of the Green Children of Woolpit, a historical account so bizarre it forces us to question everything we know about our own world. Are they proof of a hidden world beneath our feet, visitors from another dimension, or simply the victims of a tragic earthly tale? The year was around 1150, during the chaotic reign of King Stephen, a time known as the Anarchy in England. Life in the village of Woolpit, nestled in the Suffolk countryside, was simple, dictated by the seasons and steeped in folklore. The villagers were deeply religious, but also held a powerful belief in the supernatural. Fairies, goblins, and spirits were thought to inhabit the ancient woods and dark corners of the land. It was against this backdrop that the reapers, working in the fields of a local landowner named Sir Richard de Cane, heard strange, high-pitched sounds coming from one of the deep pits used to trap wolves. Cautiously they approached, their sickles held ready. Peering inside, they recoiled in shock and confusion. There, trembling, were the two children. Their features were normal, but their entire skin had a vibrant, undeniable green tint. They wept in a torrent of melodic but incomprehensible words, their eyes wide with a terror the villagers could understand, even if they couldn't understand the language it was expressed in. The story of the Green Children of Woolpit had just begun. If you are already hooked by this incredible mystery, do us a huge favor and tap that like button. And if you love diving deep into the world's greatest enigmas, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an update. The villagers, a mixture of terrified and compassionate, pulled the children from the pit and brought them into the village. News spread like wildfire. People came from all around to stare at the green-skinned curiosities. They were eventually taken to the manor of Sir Richard de Cane, a respected local knight, who offered them shelter. Inside the great hall, surrounded by rough-hewn timber and flickering candlelight, the children's strangeness was only amplified. They refused all food laid before them: bread, stew, roasted meats. They would shake their heads and weep, turning away from the sustenance that was so common to the 12th century table. For days they starved themselves, growing visibly weaker. It seemed they might perish from hunger until one of the servants brought in a bundle of freshly picked broad beans from the garden. The children's eyes lit up. They frantically broke open the raw stalks and devoured the beans inside with a desperate hunger, as if it were the only food they recognized. For a long time, this was all they would consume.
What do you think was going through the minds of the villagers when they first saw these children? Would you have been scared, or would you have tried to help? Let me know your honest reaction in the comments below. Life in the manor was a slow process of acclimatization. The boy, who was younger and appeared more frail from the beginning, never truly recovered his strength. The foreign environment and limited diet took their toll, and within a year of their arrival, he succumbed to illness and died. His sister, however, proved more resilient. She was a survivor. Gradually, cautiously, she began to sample other foods. As she was introduced to bread and then other elements of the local diet, a remarkable transformation began. The distinct green hue of her skin, the very thing that made the Green Children of Woolpit so famous, began to fade. Over many months, her skin took on the pale, natural complexion of the people around her. She was baptized into the church and given the name Agnes. She was growing up, adapting, and becoming one of them. It's incredible to think about how this young girl managed to adapt to a completely new world. If you find her story of survival and change as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button to show your support and subscribe for more amazing historical stories. The biggest breakthrough came as Agnes began to learn to speak English. As her new language skills blossomed, Sir Richard and his household were finally able to ask her the questions that had been burning in their minds for years. Who are you, and where on earth did you come from? Her answer was more fantastical than anyone could have imagined. She described a place called St. Martin's Land. In her world, she explained, the sun never shone brightly. Instead, they lived in a perpetual state of twilight, a land of eternal dusk. And, she confirmed, everyone in her world had green skin, just as she and her brother had. She said they were herding their father's cattle when they were drawn by a beautiful, deafening sound, like the ringing of bells. They followed the sound into a cave and walked through the darkness for a long, long time until they were suddenly blinded by a brilliant light and emerged, confused and terrified, into the wolf pit in Woolpit. The story was astonishing, a narrative that seemed to belong more to a fairy tale than to real life. Yet she told it with a sincerity that was hard to dismiss. The legend of the Green Children of Woolpit now had a backstory, one that pointed to a subterranean world. Now we have to ask the big question: do you believe her story of St. Martin's Land? Is a subterranean world possible, or do you think there's a more symbolic meaning to what she said? Drop your theories in the comments section. Agnes grew into womanhood in the world of humans. She was known to be rather loose and wanton in her conduct, according to the medieval chroniclers, but she eventually married a man from King's Lynn, a town some 40 miles away. As far as historical records show, she lived out the rest of her life as an ordinary Englishwoman, though she was likely forever marked by her extraordinary origins. And with that, the direct account ends, leaving us with a mystery that has spawned countless theories. Let's delve into the most prominent ones.
The first, and perhaps most grounded, is the Flemish immigrant theory. During this period of history, a large number of Flemish immigrants from modern-day Belgium had settled in England. They were renowned for their weaving skills, but were also subject to intense persecution, especially under the reign of Henry II, who ascended the throne shortly after the children's appearance. This theory suggests the children were the orphans of Flemish parents who had been killed. They may have fled into the vast and dense Thetford forest, becoming lost. Their unknown language would have been Flemish, which would sound like gibberish to a Suffolk villager. Their strange clothes could have been the distinct Flemish style of weaving. But what about the green skin, the central pillar of the Green Children of Woolpit story? This is explained by a medical condition known as chlorosis, or green sickness. It's a severe form of iron deficiency anemia, which can be caused by extreme malnutrition. A key symptom is a noticeable greenish tint to the skin. The children, lost in the forest and starving, would have been severely malnourished, their diet of only raw beans upon arrival, and the girl's subsequent recovery and color change once she began eating a protein and iron-rich diet fits this medical explanation perfectly. It's amazing how history and science can come together to offer a solution. If you're enjoying this deep dive, give this video a like and be sure to subscribe so we can keep exploring these mysteries together. But what about the story of St. Martin's Land? Proponents of the Flemish theory suggest this was a distorted memory or a child's attempt to describe their home. The village of Fornham St. Martin is located just a few miles from Woolpit, separated by the River Lark. Is it possible the children were trying to say they were from Fornham St. Martin and had wandered through a long, dark forest or an underground mine working, eventually emerging at Woolpit?
The land of twilight could be a memory of life in a densely wooded area, or a metaphorical description of the sadness and darkness of their recent trauma. This explanation elegantly ties up many of the story's loose ends into a neat terrestrial package. It transforms the myth of the green children of Woolpit into a tragic tale of human suffering and survival. This Flemish theory seems pretty convincing, right? But does it satisfy you, or do you think it's too simple for such a strange story? Let us know if you're on Team Flemish or if you think there's more to it in the comments. Of course, for a story this strange, a simple explanation will never be enough for some. This brings us to the more exotic theories. The most popular alternative is that the children were exactly what they seemed to be, aliens or visitors from another dimension. This theory posits that St. Martin's Land was not a place on Earth, but another planet or a parallel universe. The cave they wandered through could have been a wormhole or a portal. Their green skin could be their natural biology, and the change in the girl's skin color could be attributed to the different atmosphere or diet of Earth, affecting her alien physiology. The bell-like sound they heard could have been the sound of their transport technology malfunctioning, accidentally stranding us here. This interpretation turns the tale of the green children of Woolpit into one of the earliest documented close encounter stories in human history.
In the 1960s, astronomer Duncan Lunan took this theory a step further, proposing a highly specific extraterrestrial origin. He hypothesized that the children were transported to Earth from a planet orbiting a binary star system, and that their home planet was tidally locked, resulting in a twilight zone where life could exist, matching Agnes's description. He suggested their green skin was a result of a diet of genetically modified plants on their home world. While Lunan himself has since acknowledged the flaws in his hypothesis, it shows the powerful grip this story has on the human imagination and our desire to find evidence of life beyond our own world. The idea that the green children of Woolpit were lost alien children remains a potent and popular interpretation of the legend. We've covered the earthly and the otherworldly. We've explored history, medicine, and speculative science. The story of the green children of Woolpit can be seen as a perfect storm of real historical events, medical anomalies, and folklore, all woven together into a narrative that has stood the test of time. It's a mirror reflecting the beliefs of the era in which it was recorded, a time when the line between the natural and supernatural worlds was thin and porous. Perhaps the children were indeed Flemish orphans, their tragic story embellished by superstitious villagers and monastic scribes who were all too willing to believe in wonders. Or perhaps, just perhaps, for a brief moment in the 12th century, a door between worlds opened, leaving behind two small, terrified, green-skinned children as the only evidence of its existence. The truth remains buried by centuries of time, leaving the mystery of the green children of Woolpit as vivid and compelling today as it was 800 years ago. We hope you enjoyed this journey into one of history's most fascinating and enduring mysteries. The story of the green children of Woolpit is a testament to the power of stories that defy easy explanation. If you had fun exploring this with us, please show your support by giving this video a huge thumbs up and, most importantly, subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into historical enigmas. We have so much more to explore together. Now we want to hear from you. What was the most fascinating part of this story for you? What did you learn that surprised you? And what theory do you ultimately believe? Let's get a conversation going in the comments below. Thank you for watching.